Hello. Today I want to talk about the question that was asked why socialism is not biblical. This is the question I believe it's very important for us to actually go around because this is one of the reasons why the church has been very divided the last few months in America. Is the understanding of the different ideology from the left and the right, and why is it that Christians are against the ideology of socialism. Before I even go deep into socialism, it's very important for us to go deep into the definition. What do we think when we say socialism? What do we mean by socialism? It's one thing to have the exact definition of something, but it's something else to know what people think about the word. When you hear socialism, what is it that is coming in your mind? So I went online and I made some little research of the general perception of socialism. I went to the Gallup site and I saw that 23% in the US understand socialism as referring to some form of equality. 23%. 17% says government control of business and economy. That's 70%. That's a general perception in America. Now, in 1949, 34% defined socialism as government control of businesses. You see how definitions are changing, right? But now I'm going to tell you what I believe to be the general definition of socialism today. You know, the contemporary, everyday citizen. What do they think when we say socialism? So I believe that the mind of men and women today, socialism means government intervention to help the poor and the needy, or those who are disadvantaged. So the government intervention to help those who can really help themselves. That's a general idea of socialism. Now, when you look at the definition, you have to see that socialism has to do what is very common in every definition of socialism is the role of the government. Now, if we want to talk about socialism and the Bible, we have to go back to what we understand the role of the government according to the Bible. But this is a very interesting topic. I like to talk about that. So the role of the government. Now, I'm going to answer giving the definition of the general perception. I'm not going to go to some, conventional definition because that's not what people think. When people are saying socialism, they don't think of the other definition that I just gave you. They just think that the government should do something to help the poor. The government should do something to help the needy. The government should do something to help those who can't help themselves. That is the general idea, what people think about socialism. Now, I'm going to go even from that definition, okay? So that we can understand exactly where the Bible stands when it comes to the ideology of socialism. Now, the first thing that you need to understand when I see when I read the Bible is that the role of the king, and in the Bible, when the first time that the children of Israel asked for a king, God was very reluctant. They said, we need a king we want to be governed by a king as other nation. God was really reluctant, and he told them what the king would do against them. So the general idea when it comes to the Bible is the government. Let me put that inside. Let me come back to the definition again. I'm going to come back to the role of the government later on. That's another debate because that's I can drag it. This can actually drag me more than what I want to expend myself. So we probably gonna make a video to talk about the role of the government according to the Bible. That might be a good subject. But I want to stay on socialism. So now the idea of socialism, it's a very good idea. I want you to understand that, it's good to help the poor. It's good to help the needy. It's good to help those who can help themselves. It's biblical, actually. The idea is biblical. Very, very biblical. So actually, the church is commanded to help the poor, to help the needy. To help the orphan, to help the widows. That is the function of that's the actual it's a mandate actually of the church. Now, when it comes to the government is something else. Now, let me tell you one thing. When it comes to ideology in the Bible, the only one principle where you can, by that principle, you should be able to judge any ideology that that is coming. One principle, and I believe it's only that principle that that was the jackpot of Americans when they founded America. They honor that principle, and I believe deeply that's the only reason America became so powerful in such a short period of time. That only one principle. That principle, it's called free will. God will never violate the free will of any individual. That is a principle, that is the law that governs every human. We have been created after God's image, after his own resemblance. So God will never violate your free will. And any man, any woman, any institution, any system, any government who is violating the free will of the individuals, what he is doing right at the moment, when it comes to ideology, it's wrong. I'll break it down into families. It's very, very simple. Now, imagine that you have a family of 5 siblings, and the 2 are not doing very good, and then you say, okay, well, the father comes and say, okay, from today, whatever you make, we are going to take 40% of what you make because we want to help the people that are not doing so good. That's a great idea, but it's a good intention. But violating your free will is not biblical. Now, this is what a father should do, or a parent, a family who wants the needy or the poor to amongst them to be taken care of. They should teach, preach, develop a culture of sharing, develop a culture of taking care of. So people by free will be inclined to take care of the needy, to take care of the poor. It should be something that should be done freely. You know, lately, when this debate started, I think it was at the end of the second term of Obama, and it was very intensive about minimum wage. We need to take care of those who are poor. And there is a lady. She's I'm not going to mention her name, but she's owner of a very big company, and she was also advocating that we should raise the taxes on the rich in order to take care of the poor. But when you look at the company where she's managing, the people who are working on that company are extremely under. They are barely going above the minimum wage. The question one may ask is, it's common sense. If you own a company and you really care about the people and the poor, well, you can just raise willingly and take good care of your people. That no one should be forced to do even something that is good. That's the reason why people are not forced to go to heaven. People are not forced to believe in Christ. People are free. We have to preach, we have to encourage them, we have to convince them, but never force anyone to do good. So the idea of taking what is to the rich and to give it to the poor actually is contrary to what the Bible says. But now it's going to be shocking to so many. Jesus gave a parable of talent. I think it's a parable that's this is going to shock the conventional knowledge. So now he tells the story about a man who gave talent. 1 talent to one, 3 to another one, and 5 to another one. So when he comes back, the guy who had 5 talent went on and multiplied and presented him 10. The one who had 3 brought back 6, but the one who had 1, he said to himself, I said, no, I only had 1. My master is so hard and I'm going to hide it. And he went and hid the talent. And when when the master came back, he brought back the talent. And the master was mad and said, listen, why you didn't put it in the bank? Because you knew I like to reap where I've not sown. Why you didn't put it in the bank? So he was telling, and he took the 1 talent and gave it to the one who already had 10. And he said specifically in the scriptures that to them who don't have, it will be taken the little that they have to give to those who have. Now it is very, very controversial, this idea, but this is the idea of God. So the idea of taking from the rich to give to the poor is not a biblical idea. The biblical idea is that the rich have the responsibility to share by his free will what he has with the poor, with the needy, with those who doesn't have anything, those who doesn't have the same grace like he does. It has to be free. It is never in the Bible the idea to force people to do good. It has been approved. There is no place like that. So the principle, what we have to save on this, the socialism idea is good to take care of those who, the poor and the needy, and all it's very good ideas. But now, to whom expense? The government does not own anything in America. Technically, the government does not own anything, doesn't own a company, doesn't own anything. Technically, okay, that's just an idea, but I can. It's a subject of debate, but technically the government doesn't own anything. So where the government is taking money to help the poor, is taking from the rich to help the poor. That's the idea of socialism. Taking from the rich to help the poor. Now, my personal way of a suggestion, because we have a very vast majority of people who really incline, they want to help the poor. When you go to apply for a job, and when you are signing up a job, they tell you, you are filling out the form. If we really care about the poor, we should offer that option to those who are going to, who are working. Do you want to help the poor? Do you want to take 10%, 20% of your salary in order to take care of the health care or something like that? It should be willingly. Now, there is a reason why America became so powerful in such a short period of time. The ideology of America is around the freedom. And that is the only country in the world that was founded by ordinary people. Those were not great people. There was ordinary people running away from the oppression of the government in England. Now they came to America, and now they designed a constitution with the only thing in mind was the protection of the people. They understood they need some government, but they surely didn't want to go back to the kind of tyranny that they were experiencing in Europe. And they ran and they came to America, and they founded America. What made America what it is today? It's commonly known as the 3C. There's number 1 is the Constitution. What is in that Constitution that is making America so different from every other country is the idea and the notion of freedom. We should be free to do commerce. We should be free to speak, to say what we think. We should be free to do all the freedoms. The freedom of press, and that is the real America. That idea of freedom, that is the only thing that made America became what it is today. Now, freedom is the fabric of the heart of man. It is the identity of any human being. We are free, but now we should use our knowledge and wisdom and understanding to make the right choices in life, because we will be judged based on the choices that we make. but we should never be forced to do anything. If we should have been forced to do something, God will have forced everyone to believe in Christ in order to be saved. But even that is up to you. You can choose to reject him, or you can choose to accept him, because God cannot violate your will. So every ideology that tends to violate the freedom of man, even if the intention is to do good, it's not biblical. Now, for the account of the history, there is no socialistic system that have ever worked in the history of the world. It had never worked. Never worked. We have example. The only country that can come to my mind now is France. But France, his system of France was sustained by the 17 countries in Africa. They print the money of 17 countries. Can you imagine the kind of wealth that Africa has been pouring out to France? It's just unthinkable. It's just unthinkable. So socialism is not working in France. It's just that they have so much money, so much free resources coming from so-called poor countries, colonies, that is making the system sustainable. But now you see France is going down too, because now Africans are rising and the eyes of everybody is opening and competition is coming into Africa and many countries. Well, you will see it's not going to be long before France goes down. Now, that's why I believe that's the reason why they're pushing also the one world government, because, you know, they can't stand without Africans country. Everybody knows it is not a secret. France will not stand. Now, I like the idea. It's profitable. My mother I used to buy a drug, Combigan, for my mom. It's $400 for the eyes. $400 drug. $400. And I went to Europe. I was visiting. I was in Paris, and I went to buy the same drug, and it was €12, so around $14. The same exact drug, 400 in America, 14 in Europe. Now, capitalism is not perfect. I cannot say capitalism is not perfect, but what I can say is that there is no country in the world today that function with the ideology prescribed in the Bible. Maybe we'll talk about that one another day, another video. I think the time is up now. There is no country in the world. America is not heaven, but by far, when it comes to ideology, is the best ideology when it comes to the idea of government. Now, the ideology of the founding fathers, not what is it now. Founding fathers, when it comes to the role of the government, when it comes to the idea of man, who is a man and how should he function? How should he interact with the government? What is the role of the government in the place in the society? And that, I think, they had it right. The founding fathers, they had it right. And that is the reason why America became so great. I don't believe that America became great because by chance or by mistake. No, it was just the design of the society. The Constitution, I mentioned it recently, the Constitution, the Christianity, the moralization of the society came from the Christianity, from faith. And then we have capitalism. Those are the three things that made America what it is today. China is growing, but the only growth that we have in China now can be credited to capitalism. So, it is... Well, I'd like to stay in the question. The question is why socialism is not biblical. Socialism is not biblical because it forces the government have to take something by force to someone to give to someone else. That is what is wrong. Now, America from the very beginning, I believe the church was so responsible and understood the role of the church that we had so many free services to help the poor. And I think that's the idea of non-profit, That's why the church and the non-profit they are not taxed because they are supposed to take care of those things. Dr. Phil on the line he is he is a wonderful man. He's an extremely good man, and he's a very, very good man. I cannot count the number of cars that he has given to those in need and helping people, buying houses, property here for this person, buying a car there. And his goal back in the days was buy 3 houses and give it away. He is a very, very decent man, and he is also he's not living a flamboyant life. He's using his hard-earned money to help people around. But he's not forced to do that. I believe that the culture, what we have lost in the church growing in America, is that we have lost to teach that responsibility so that we can take care of other people. Businesses like Shrine Hospital, they used to be non-profit. I think back in the days, when you read the history, there's so many hospitals. If you can't afford to go to those capitalistic system hospital, there were always free services available. But it's not anymore. Greed has entered the heart of man. The church is running away from some of its responsibilities, and now we are having all these people in the back of the government. So it's a big problem. Now I understand the concern of everyone. When you see someone who can afford to pay the hospital, he can afford to feed himself and all that, it's truly heartbreaking. It's truly heartbreaking, but never going to work as a system of governance. It has never worked in anywhere in the world. It's just going to destroy the whole system. So you don't fix a problem by creating a bigger one. That's the idea. America embracing socialism today, if they do embrace socialism, is just the destruction of America. But you don't fix a problem by creating a bigger one. And the reason why America is what it is today is simply because they did something different. And that is fundamental, and we have to understand that. And if we understand that, we have to be very careful to make sure that we don't break the foundation upon which the country was founded. If the foundation are destroyed, what should the righteous do? What is the foundation of America? Is the freedom? Is that Constitution? What is the foundation? Is the Christianity and the biblical principle upon which the nation was built? What is the foundation? Is capitalism. Those are the 3 things that made America what it is today. No one disputes that. Economics and social study, no one disputes that in the world. Those are the 3 things that made America what it is today. The fabric of America, those are the 3 things. But if we touch any of those, I am afraid that we are going to destroy the whole system by trying to fix a problem. We, the people, are called to take care of our neighbors, and that's where the life in Africa could be helpful. Most countries to date in Africa are only, they live and they exist and they function from their diaspora. No one is forcing me to send money back home. No one is forcing anyone. But the sense of family, the idea of family, the responsibility of one another compels us to take care of our brothers and sisters. This is a thing that these are the things that we have to come back into, and that America is running away. I cannot understand, for instance, how I can send my mother to a nursing home for someone else to take care of her. I mean, it can't cross my mind because, hey, she's my mother. She's my mother. No. Why do you want to take care of her? So that is the cultural thing. I believe that those are the things we can learn if we, the people, were still responsible when it comes to the understand. Now we have 3 institutions. The government is one, we have the family, and we have the church. If those 3 institutions was functioning normally in America, those problems would not exist. No problem. If each family function the way by design of God, and each church, the government will not be able. That's not the place of the government. So we have to understand that each institution of God, family, government, and the church, or the kingdom of God, if you want to call it that way, they all have different responsibilities. The fact that we want to dump into the government now the responsibility to take care of is simply because we have destroyed the idea, the godly idea of family and the responsibility that we have to our parents, to our siblings, to our children. Those responsibility, we don't understand it anymore in America. And then we have poverty increase, we have homeless people, we have all these things coming in, and we expect the government to take care of those people. That's not the role of the government. That is not the role of the government. So I believe that I'm completing this video, but I think if you want to me to make another video, just let me know on the role of the government, maybe the role of the government, the role of the family, and the role of the church in a given society, to how the three institutions are coming together to create a perfect world. So, but again, perfection is not of this world at this point of time, and destroying what is right, we're just going to make things worse. You just have to look at California, San Francisco, and all those places where they raise taxes. Taxes is the most toxic thing you can do to any economic system. Raise taxes. It's stupid. The most horrible things that the idea, you will destroy everything. You are not fixing a problem, you're creating a bigger one. Well, I'm going to stop there. God bless you richly. I expect that I gave you some light. But if you want to, if you have any other question, please send it to me, and I will try to answer to the best of my knowledge. God bless you, and I see you next time.